Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens I have currently inked for this week. So I think let's just go through these pens briefly and then we'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So, from left to right we have the Visconti Millionaire, and this is the marble green. We have a Visconti Millionaire in the marble Empire Honey. We have a Visconti Brunelleschi. We have an Opus 88 Demonstrator. We have a Pelikan M1000 Varden Starlight. We have a TWSBI VAC 700R. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi. We have a Scribo 2 in the Noble Green, a Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red, and a Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue. So let's have a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the Visconti Millionaire Marble Green, and you don't have to be a millionaire to own one of these. They are usually listed at over $1,000 US. I managed to pick this one up for a much better deal, but you will see that this is a really lovely marble finish that's going on there. It comes with a 23 carat Palladium Dream Touch nib, and this is a pen that I do like a lot. It's a very heavy pen because it is made of a slab of marble, but it is actually quite a nice sort of size pen and a nice weight pen. Now it does come with a little bit of a strange piston filler. Now I've emptied it just so I could show you here, but basically you pull this back and then that fills up the piston with ink. So for me this is actually quite a nice easy pen to clean out, and I do like it because of that. Now these marble pens are still quite weighty, quite chunky, but for me it's a pen that I like a lot. So let's put this back on again and I will ink this back up again. I wanted to show you that piston mechanism there, but this really is a beautiful pen. It doesn't come with a Visconti My Pen system where you can swap these out, unfortunately, but it is a limited edition. You can see the limited edition there, but it is a really nice pen. On to the next pen. Again, this is another Visconti Millionaire, and this is again a marble because it is a marble finish, and it's the Empire Honey. And I really do love this. It's a little bit more muted, but it's again a very beautiful pen. Again, it doesn't come with the Visconti My Pen finial system, but it does come with a bridge clip, and it does come with a 23 carat Palladium nib. So for me, this is really good. Now you can get these, as I said, these come at normally under or over $1,000. You can get them cheaper if you don't have the rollable converter. So you can find these for better deals online. Typically, I have got these with the rollable attachment. So I will show you here actually the rollable attachment for this one, and it just comes with this. And if I put this down gently here, if I unscrew this, you then have a rollable. So it's just as simple as unscrewing this, and I will show you here, and I will ink this up again in a little bit because I wanted to show you this, but this then becomes a rollable. So it's actually quite a good sort of way of actually converting your pens, and I know a lot of kit pen makers do this as well typically, but for me this is a nice way. If you want to carry a rollable around, then you can do so, and you can just put it back in here and Bob's your uncle, put it away and then put this back in. But I will fill this pen up again with ink. I just wanted to show you that without injecting ink out everywhere. So for me this is again a nice pen, to be writing with. It's a good weight and a good size, and I like my more weightier pens, and I like pens that are a little bit more longer, or girthier as well in the diameter, especially the section. I tend not to like pens that have a narrow section. I tend to prefer pens that have a little bit more of a wider section to them. The next pen here I have inked up this week is another Visconti, and this is a Brunelleschi. Now, this is made of terracotta tile with a mix of resin. So the actual feel of this pen is a very sort of, I'd almost say rubbery type texture. And it does kind of look that. It's a very matte-like finish. It comes with the My Pen finial there, and it comes with a 23 cat Palladium Dream Touch nib. I find that this is actually a really good size. It's pretty much a Homo sapiens size of a pen. The only thing that I'm not so enamoured with is it doesn't have the double reservoir, so it only holds about a milliliter of ink. But again, that's not a problem. It just means that you can actually clean the pens out a lot more quicker. So I have the Brunelleschi inked up, and this is a pen that I do like a lot, and I do keep coming back to. And then I have a pen that I've not really written with for a while, and this is the Opus 88 Claro Demonstrator. And I do like this. It's a steel nib. I have these in broad nibs, although this one I have modified a little bit to become more of an architect style grind nib there. So it really does have this sort of, if I try to zoom in a little bit more, you may see it there, but it's a slight swordfish. But it really is a lovely pen to write with, and I've been converting some of my broad nibs here to a architect nib because I do like the architect nibs a lot more. So I've actually been grinding these nibs myself. I have done a few grinds for some friends, but I tend to typically just do the grinds for myself at the moment. I'm not really into wanting to do grinds. I don't have a lot of spare time free, so for me, I'm not going to have time to do grinds for too many people, but it's just something that I started to do and I like doing. So it gives me a little bit of variance with the nibs that I have, and actually a way to improve some of the nibs a little bit more than just flossing the tines to make them right wetter or smoothing the nib out. And then we have this pen, and of course you would have seen this probably if you've watched my Christmas video, that this is the Pelikan M1000 Varden Starlight, and it's a maki-e pen. It's an absolutely gorgeous pen, and I just had to have this inked up because obviously it's just after Christmas, and I want to write with this pen because it's a new pen, and I go through these phases, but pretty much all of the time when I get a new pen, I typically want to write with it for at least a month, if not maybe 2 months. So you may be seeing a little bit more of this pen in my currently inked because this is a pen that I do like a lot, and this is a Pelikan M1000. It comes with a Pelikan M1000 medium nib there. You can see in the size of the hand, it's a really good size. It's got a thicker section that I love, and it's a piston filler pen as well. So for me, it ticks all the boxes. And I used to have a Pelikan M1000 that I sold in July 2019, and although I hadn't written with it for a long time, I still kind of regretted it a little bit. So I was really glad that I could pick this Pelikan M1000 up when I did. So that's also currently inked this week. And then I have gone back also to using my trusty TWSBI VAC 700R, and I got this just over a year ago. Actually, it was Christmas 2018, and I wanted a TWSBI VAC for a long time. I kept putting off buying one because I have probably too many TWSBI Diamond 580 ALs, but I wanted a VAC, and I put it on my Christmas list, and lo and behold, it turned up at Christmas. So I do like this pen a lot. The only thing I would say is the section tapers down a little bit too thin, so I tend to hold it up here a little bit more around the thread section there. But it's a nice writer. It's a broad nib. It's a huge capacity of ink, and to me, that you can see the ink sloshing around there a little bit. But it's a nice writing pen. So I decided I would ink that one back up this week and start writing with it. And then we have this one, and it's a Visconti, and it's a Homo sapiens, and it's a Caput Mundi. And you might be able to see there that the ink is getting a little bit low, because I have been writing a lot with this pen. And I inked it up because I haven't been writing a lot with it more recently. I've taken it out a few times to write with, but not in massive amounts. And this has the My Pen finial system. I have my initials on there. But I actually, when I inked this up and I started writing with it, it was one of these, wow, why am I not writing with this pen? And I think the problem is I have too many pens. I have around 170, and it's becoming too many. I did knock it down by about 20, and then I think I probably purchased nearly another 20. But I really do like this pen, and I love how it writes. So this was full in just under a week ago, and now the ink level is down to here, and literally this bit here to here. So it's probably about here. This bit here is the ink, but it's a beautiful pen. It comes with a 23 cat Palladium Dream Touch nib, and this is a medium nib, and it just writes flawlessly. And I absolutely love writing with that pen. And I've had a number of offers because people want that pen, and I have just said that I am not selling it. And a few friends as well have asked me if I would sell that pen. And at the moment, no, it just writes so lovely. And it's a Homo sapiens, and I do love the Homo sapiens range from Visconti. And then we have this Scribo 2, and this is the Noble Green edition. So this is from right here in Shrewsbury in the UK. This is a limited edition. It's made by Scribo, or Scrittura Bolognese, in Italy. This is not like the fill model that Scribo make. This is just more of a rounded cylindrical version here, but you'll see that chatoyance is really nice. And I love writing with these pens because these pens have a 14 cat Magic Flex nib, and these nibs are just absolutely gorgeous to write with. It's a piston filling pen and holds around about a milliliter of ink, which again is good, but I do find, because these flex nibs, these 14 karat gold flex nibs, are so juicy wet, it does burn through a lot of ink. So I have inked that one up again this week, and also the Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red. And again, this is a beautiful red here. I think, to be honest, if I were to be honest, I prefer the green colour over the red. I think it just gives a little bit more chatoyance there. Although the red does have some chatoyance in it, it's a little bit less than the green. And again, you can see the finial there, and it's again got that 14 karat gold Magic Flex nib on there, but it's a dream to write with. So again, I've been writing with this. And then we have this year's edition, which is the Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue. And again, this is from right here in Shrewsbury. And I think John Hall right here still has some of these left. I'm not so sure which nib combinations he has, but this really is a gorgeous, gorgeous pen. I love this blue. He done a poll recently and wanted to ask which colours he would like to see in the new versions of these pens. and I put down purple, and also I think it was a caramel colour. And the purple has actually come out number 1, and the caramel has come out number 2. So I kind of hope that we're going to see a purple version of this pen at some point in 2020, and maybe even a caramel version as well, because those will be really, really lovely. And I think I might have to buy 1 or 2 of those, because if the colour turns out just like this blue has, then I will be very, very happy. And I do like purple pens, and I do like caramel brownie coloured pens as well. I've been writing more with brown ink, so it's just one of those things. But definitely purple purple was never one of my favourite colours. Blue was always my favourite colour. But in terms of ink, I like a lot of purple inks. So purple for me is where it is to be. So I really hope the next version of that pen will be a purple pen. So that's the 10 pens I have currently inked this week. So I think let's go and do a writing sample of each. So the first pen I'm going to write with here is the Visconti Millionaire. So let's do an ink swatch here. And you'll see that this is a very, very wet nib. It is a medium nib, but it really is juicy wet. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Millionaire Marble Green, and it is a medium 23 carat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Aurora and Klingner. I think it's with an N as well, I believe. And it's Alt Bordeaux, or Old Bordeaux. But that really is a beautiful ink, and it comes out very dark to start with, but then starts getting a little bit lighter over time. The second pen, again, is another Visconti, and it is a Millionaire. So let's do an ink swatch here. Now, typically this is a little bit more of a drying writing nib, plus I'm actually using a very light apricot ink, and it's almost like a yellow ink. So these tend to be a little bit more drier. So this is the Visconti Millionaire, and it's the Marble Empire. I'm just going to put EMP, Honey, and it is another medium 23 carat palladium nib, but that is a much drier ink. And then the ink in here is Akamon, and it's number 3, and it's Jelly Ochre Van France. But that is a lovely apricot coloured ink, and I do like that ink a lot. It's just though that it tends to be a little bit on the dry side, but I do love it when it dries out. Then the next pen we have here, we'll do an ink swatch, and you'll be able to see that this is, strange enough, the same colour ink as the first one, but you'll see here it comes out very different in colour, and this is down to the wetness of the two pens here, or the two nibs. So this is the Visconti Brunelleschi, and it's 2 L's, and it is a medium 23 carat palladium nib, and again the ink in here is Aurora and Klinger Alt Bordeaux. But you can see there how that ink looks very different between the two pens. But it's an ink that I like a lot. It's really a Bordeaux colour ink, hence the name of the ink colour, but it's an ink that I do like. And then we have this pen, and it's the Opus 88. So let's have a look at this. Now I'm going to do it this way because this, if you'll recall, I said is an architect grind, so you get a little bit more line variation on the horizontals instead of the verticals. So this is an Opus 88, and it's the Claro Demonstrator. But you can see there it starts to look different. It's a little bit more scratchy because of the way the nib is ground compared to, say, a regular board nib, but it's a nib that I like writing with a lot. So this is well, it was a broad, I guess it's I'm going to put a BA nib, it's a broad architect nib. Technically it's more of an architect nib, or it's an architect medium, so maybe an AB nib. I'll put a BA here. So for me, this is a really nice pen. It is a steel nib though. It's not a gold nib. Unfortunately, Opus 88 only do steel nibs, and these are Yovo nibs. And then the ink in here is Ackerman, and it's Dutch Masters, and it's Cerulean Bleu Van Vermeer. But I just love how those architect nibs do write. So for me, again, that's a nice writing nib. And then we have the lovely Pelikan M1000 Starlight. So let's just move this up a bit. So let's do an ink swatch here. Now, this, again, these Pelikans are quite wet nibs. Even though this is a medium nib, it is very wet. So this is the Pelikan M1000, and it's the Raden Starlight, or it's also a maki-e, but typically it's called the Raden Starlight, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here, inked up today, is Franklin Christoph Spanish Blue, which is a lovely colour blue ink that I like a lot. So that is what I have inked up today. And then we have the TWSBI VAC 700R. So let's do an ink swatch on this. Now, TWSBIs come with a steel nib, and this is a broad nib. I wanted a broad nib. Now, I would say that this TWSBI broad nib writes a little bit more like a medium nib for me, Western medium, but I do still like it a lot. I also have a very dry, highly saturated ink in this pen, so that might also be another reason why it writes a little bit more narrow, a little bit more drier. So this is the TWSBI VAC 700R, and it's a broad, and it's a steel nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine, and it's a Cult Pens edition, and it's Robert. But this is one of those higher sheening inks. And then we have the Visconti Homo sapiens. So we'll do an ink swatch here as well. This nib though writes very wet and just it's a dream to write with. It does have a Dream Touch nib, that might be why. Although not all Dream Touch nibs are a dream to write with. I have some in my collection that are not necessarily a dream to write with, but the majority of them actually are quite nice writing nibs. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Homo sapiens Caput Mundi. And it is a medium 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is a beautiful ink that I've come to love a lot recently. Is Pelican, Edelstein, Garnet. Beautiful ink. I wish I'd actually discovered this a few years ago, because I might not have bought as many red inks that I currently have in my collection. And then we have this pen, and you'll see just how lovely this nib writes. So we'll do an ink swatch. But this is a beautiful wet nib. It's a 14 karat gold flex nib from Scribo, but it's just beautiful writing and very wet. So this is the Scribo 2 in the Noble Green, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Ackerman, and it's Dutch Masters, and it's number 10, and it's Van Huysum's. I probably completely misspelt that name. Sapgorn. But it's a beautiful green ink. It's more of a grassy green, sort of a springy summer green ink. And it's an ink that I do like a lot. And then the next pen is, again, another Scribo 2. And we'll do an ink swatch here first, but this again is a beautiful wet nib again. These 14 karat gold nibs are just a beautiful writing experience, at least for me anyway. So these are, or this is the Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red, just like the Cardinal Green, and it is a medium 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here today is a bit of a hard start there, could be the grease on my hand. Pelican, because I don't normally get hard starts with this nib. Pelican, and it's Edelstein, and it's Garnet. And this is a beautiful red ink, and it's an ink that I love writing with a lot. So I'm glad that I have that one inked up. And then the last pen we have here, again, is another Scribo, but this is not a 2, this is the Scribo 3. Now this has the same nib, it's a 14 karat gold flex nib from Scribo, but this doesn't quite flex as much and isn't quite as wide as the other medium nibs. I'd almost think that this is an 18 karat gold nib, but it's actually a 14 karat gold, or at least it's stamped 14 karat gold. 18 karat tend to be a little bit less flexible. So this is the Scribo 3, and I think you can see that already here in the writing here. So this is the Bologna Blue, and it is supposed to be a medium 14 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is Robert Oster, and it's blue water, ice. So for me, it's not that the ink is dry, it's actually a wet ink, and I have this very wet in other pens as well. It's just that the nib is a little bit narrower and a little bit less bouncy or flexy. So I think let's just go through these inks and pens one more time. We have a Visconti Millionaire in the marble green with a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Rohrer and Klinger Alt Bordeaux. We have a Visconti Millionaire marble Empire Honey in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Ackermann Jelly Ochre Van Frans. We have a Visconti Brunelleschi medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Rohrer and Klinger Alt Bordeaux, and you can see the two differences between these inks. We have an Opus 88 Kilaro demonstrator with a broad architect steel nib, inked up with Ackermann Dutch Masters Cerulean Bleu Van Vermeer. We have a Pelikan M1000 Raden Starlight in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Franklin Christoph Spanish Blue. We have a Twisby VAC 700R in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Colt Pens Robert. We have a Visconti Homo Sapiens Caput Mundi in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Pelikan Edelstein Garnet. We have a Scribo 2 in the Noble Green with a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Ackermann Dutch Masters Van Huysum Sapgron. And we have a Scribo 2 in the Cardinal Red in a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Pelikan Edelstein Garnet. And then last but not least, we have a Scribo 3 in the Bologna Blue finish with a medium 14 karat gold nib, inked up with Robert Oster Blue Water Ice. So there you have it. That's my currently inked for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.